almost the end of the year and time to have a look at what's in store for January. Remember, this is not a look at the whole of next year. We will be looking at that on the show on January the 15th. So remember to tune in to see what's ahead for this country and for yourself on January the 15th. And for the most part, the president is out of the woods, at least for a little while the main pressures are off, and we've seen how his power base has shifted, and he's got opportunities to shuffle his cabinet and all of that. I've got a feeling the president is somewhere just breathing quietly and probably still hoping it'll all go away. But it has, at least for a little while, gone away for him. So until the time of the ANC birthday party next month in January, we can expect that he's kind of off the hook, but then we will see the pressures rising right there. And if anyone did manage to be convinced that the ANC acquired a little bit of discipline by the end of that conference, the birthday party will quickly disabuse you of that idea, as we're going to see the same kind of ill-disciplined anti-Ramaphosa activity at that meeting, and perhaps the furthering of the conference, which also goes on in January, that we have already seen. So in that sense, he's not entirely out of it. And when we have a look at the chart, in fact, for the whole of January and somewhat ongoing even into next year, we're going to see the same kind of thing. We can see that there's a lot of small battles that the president is in, which really refers to those in his own party and the constant stress and so on. A lot of people have assumed that because his majority at the Nasrec election was larger and he's got more people on his own top 7 now than he had before, that this means he's really free to act. But it does not look like that in the chart, and it looks like the internal bickering and discord, as well as his efforts to keep everyone happy at the same time, mostly by doing nothing, all continue into the month of January. So that underlying tension is still there. But the major threats against him have gone, at least just for a little while, because those are coming back. The official opposition, as well as the other opposition parties in Parliament, are also going to be gearing up their attacks in the month of January. And it looks like there's a lot of fighting and opposition once Parliament resumes and once the year's business resumes. And in fact, we can expect a lot of advances, at least on the publicity scale, made by opposition parties at this time. It does look like opposition parties are gaining in power in terms of numbers, and that's especially true for the official opposition, that would be the DA, but it really refers to all the opposition as well. Certainly looks like, in terms of popularity, people that are gathering, and while this ANC government might be out of the woods for a while, at the moment it is not looking good for their election prospects, simply because opposition forces continue to grow and enlarge. So don't rest too easily on that lumpy couch of yours, Mr. President. When it comes to other things happening in the country, it's looking great in the area of sport and entertainment and those things which uplift us and bring us all together. That's good to see. We can expect some real gains in terms of sport in general, women's teams in particular. We saw great stuff from Banyana this year, and perhaps it's still them. Perhaps we're extending that even further, because it really is looking very good on that frontier, as well as the entertainment area, where we already have a few bright lights out there in the world, and it looks like some of our own locally based bright lights are also shining very brightly. So we might see gains in our sense of our image, and our belief in our possibilities often do emerge out of that. Despite it being a relatively quiet month in terms of business, etc., for the year, we're also seeing some gains being made in various, be they labor disputes or other issues that have arisen, as well as even in services. While Eskom's woes are not going to evaporate, and the chart is very clear that old things, inherited things, ancestral things will continue to haunt ESCOM. Well, that certainly refers to maintenance issues, as well as, of course, the corruption and other damage that was done to the company that's still going to go on. Nevertheless, it does look like, somewhat against the odds, things managed to struggle through all the way through the month of January, perhaps before we see any next major challenges, because they are coming as well. Might even still be as early as the end part of January. That's usually covered in my February look ahead. So we will see by late January and into February the electricity crisis continuing. But for now, we are more or less going to be a little bit stable where we stand as things get more under control, while everything in the world is a little bit quiet, which certainly serves us. There are behind the scenes some important negotiations and interactions going on with other countries. A lot of what's been happening in this country has generated a response and a reaction that we as citizens don't always see. We know that there are all sorts of wheelings and dealings going on, and the chart is clear those continue to happen. Right now, we should probably be grateful for that, because the chart shows gains, benefits, rewards, even money coming from foreign countries, as well as some unexpected, unpredictable kind of gains that are still going to come there. There also remains in the chart, though, a warning that some of our friends are not as friendly as they look. For that, I need someone in government to be listening to me. But just, we all need to be not fooled by what's happening around us. That's old news, but certainly some major thing, be it some agreement that is signed or something like that, we all need to look a little bit more carefully over the course of the next month before we take that too much on board, because our government is also feeling a little bit emboldened, or should I say our president is feeling a little bit emboldened, and that also might allow the government to make some choices or decisions or something in this time that are not as favorable to us as they are portrayed. Wouldn't be a terribly unusual circumstance, but it does look like they're feeling a little bit too bold. So the chart says, let it all ride for a while. We need to take a bit more chill approach, with the area of sport and entertainment and fun and good things of our chart being strongly emphasized. It's a little bit like the universe is saying to us, hey, you have had a rough year. You can afford to take a brief break where you celebrate what's great about being South African, being in the world today, being where we are right now, grateful for what we have, and we can pick up our problems again later in the month of January. So Aries, it does look like progress is being made for you as well, and you're also feeling a little bit stronger than usual, more emboldened than usual, more ready to face some of the challenges or face even some of the demons that you've been struggling with over the last while. It is a strong time for you, but such a strong time is best applied to your goals and the special extras you need to accomplish those goals, by which I mean things that have not been easily accessible to you, missing ingredients, whatever has been an obstacle by not being there for you to be able to get to your goals at this time. Well, those things are available to you now. They're not going to be plonked in front of you. You're going to have to do a little bit of work, perhaps some persuading or opening the door yourself in order to get them, but they're there for you. So bring it on. Whatever you can get from whether the world, supporters, whoever it may be, there's lots available to you right now that you need in order to get where you're going. You do need to do a little bit of out-of-the-box approach to do that, and it looks like look further, wider in order to do that. There does seem to be some conflict happening in your personal life that looks a little bit too trivial to allow it to cause the unsettlement it is. Don't sweep it under the carpet. It does need to be addressed, but it's like the personal side of your chart is saying, deal with the small stuff now so that it doesn't become a big issue later, and then you can go on to have an easy, groovy, happy month. Taurus, you're not someone who's usually willing to take too much of a risk. You like safety and security and knowing where you stand. But, we've reached this kind of what have you got to lose moment. While things are working smoothly and you don't need to take any risks, if you want to make the breakthroughs that you seek, if you're trying to get to a goal that has been a little bit out of reach, now is the time to bust right out of the box. It really means taking a risk, going for it, and doing your thing. right now you're going to have to act much more individualistically, selfishly even, in order to get to where you want to get to. Be willing to do that. You might have to break out of what's expected of you, break out of what the group is doing, and kind of go it solo at the moment. That's what's going to get you somewhere. If you didn't take a break in the last little while of the holiday period, now is also the time to do that. It's a great opportunity to kind of expand your horizons, expose yourself to new things, do new things, meet new people. All that new stuff is really going to advance you, both at the personal level and at the social level. The social level, it looks like you're meeting new people who are a little bit out of your usual realm, and this is time to get fresh, new insights, new ideas. Be willing to take on board things from someone younger than yourself, someone who doesn't usually influence you in any kind of way. Just allow the fresh input to open a fresh path for you. Well, Gemini, it's true that the year sometimes takes long to get going, but not for you. It looks like things are already happening, everything is already on your table, and you're probably busier than you expected or even deserve to be so early in the year. Well, I'm afraid you're hitting the ground running, and this is not the time to let go, to drop or stand back in any kind of way. Hopefully you did get a bit of a break in the last few weeks, because nothing is giving you a break at the moment. It certainly looks like you've got way too much on your plate. And one of the ways the chart suggests to deal with that is to identify two main streams. Although we usually say professional and personal, it isn't always that. So there are two things that are the priority at the moment, and you need to sort out the battle between those two things before you even look at 3, 4, 5 and those other things that you're also trying to achieve at the same time. Also, the chart says, and what about the fun times? It looks like there's no fun times happening in your chart at the moment, and that's your responsibility. So chill. You've got to do a lot of things, but you don't have to do it all at the same time. So now's the time to focus on the thing that is fastest, easiest, where your strongest energy is going to go the furthest. Then look at number 2, then have fun, and then you're ready for any number 3s or anything that follow. Get your year under control now. Cancerians, as befits this time of year, it's all about family and it's all about friends. And it's really especially all about friends in your chart at this particular time. It looks like there is a lot of focus of your energy in that area, but at the same time, the chart is kind of telling you, focus yourself more, rein yourself in a little bit, stop spreading yourself too thin. So it's about the demands that you feel, it's about the need that you feel to be everywhere with everyone at the moment, and that's great, but it's actually going to have some negative results as well. So it's not about them, it's about you. It's time to kind of rein yourself in and tighten up your social ship a little bit for your own benefit. It's appropriate anyway, because where the moon sits in your particular chart for this month tells us that it's really good to be focusing your energy instead on roots and family and matters to do with home and family. And what could be better than that as you start off the new year in making your foundation on what's really important. You know, if you think about it, we seem to make family once a year, like December was. And now this is a foundation to start on everything that's solid, so that your social and how you give love and receive love in your life is much more based on something solid in this year. Start with January. Leo, yes, it is a time to kind of withdraw a little bit, pull back a little bit, not be so much out there like you've been in the last little while, but that doesn't mean a time to sit around and do absolutely nothing. Hopefully you have managed to do that over the holiday period, and sure, you still need to do fun things and good things and all that stuff that'll get your year going on a good note. But this is a strategy month for you. It's a time to be sitting back and looking at what you need to do in the year ahead to get your creativity where you need it to be. Creativity doesn't necessarily mean your artistic side. If you're an artist, then it does. But it really just means your effectiveness, where your action on the world makes a difference, where your ideas in the world make a difference. So this is your reassessment month, so that you can refine that, because it certainly looks like over the months of January and into February as well, you can be very much more effective as you gradually start applying some of the goals and things that you need to do. Don't let go of that creativity mention, which also means have a good balance between those strategic goals and things that you also just need to do for yourself. Personal goals, personal life, all of those things that are really about satisfying your own needs. This is also a space where you can make sure that those needs are also tended to, those goals are also achieved. Virgo, you have such a great start to the year. January opens up for you and sets the tone, and you need to take advantage of it so that indeed the rest of the year is going to follow suit as well. So that means getting things into action, plans that have been lined up, goals that have been waiting, people that need to be roped in, all of those are ready for you to lead. So this is a time to lead, leading yourself, leading your goals, leading the other people who right now you're working with or who are depending on you in some way. This is the arrow that you're shooting for during the month of January and making a lot of progress. In order to make progress at all your goals this time, Virgo, you need to draw on skills and talents that you have and that you've had your whole life long. It might need a little bit of acknowledging. What are you especially good at? And that's a great thing to look at as the year gets underway. What are my special talents? Am I making use of them? And am I using the resources which I'm so naturally good at getting a hold of and making use of? You often avoid things because you don't want to look selfish or be selfish or even just act selfishly. And this is not about selfishness. It's about realizing the things that you're able to do, the gifts and talents you have are the reason that you were born. So now is the time to put those into action, whether they're great or small, make the month really work for you. Well, Libra, your financial life might be doing a few unpredictable things and even a few undesirable things, but you needn't be concerned. The things that are worrying you about your financial life are going to settle down and stabilize, and in fact, are not even going to produce the things that you're worrying about. In fact, this is a time to turn things around and realize it's a great time for generating new things. You have to apply your inventiveness. This is a time for ideas, for being a little bit smart about something, solving a problem your way and doing something your way. It might take a bit of courage. You might have to kind of leap into the void a little bit in order to make this happen. But if you make this happen, this is going to work for you. So now is the time to be courageous, to be risky, to take a chance. All of those kind of things are what's going to work for you, Libra. Financial matters will in fact improve as the month goes by, as will your confidence with regards to all of those things as well. So make sure that you're still putting the work into it, moving ahead with your goals. Don't be held back or pulled back by anything that might be worrying you about those things. You are going to have a lot of success. Remember also to communicate what you're doing with those around you, with those who you depend on to help you, because if they understand where you're coming from, there'll be all cooperation and make that security achievable. Scorpio, it's time to sort out who's with you and who's not with you. Doesn't mean they're against you, but it just means that you're carrying some extra baggage with regards to people who you might be relying on or expecting to help you or do something for you. There are people that you can rely on at the moment, and your chart actually shows that people close to you, they often are family members or people physically close to you, are people who are going to be able to help you achieve your goals. But there are also people in the same category who are actually being destructive, consciously or unconsciously. Don't go behind the scenes and try and take revenge or do any of those things you're supposedly famous for. Not really always. But rather, this is the time to just clear your space and identify who is able to go with you on this journey to get to where you're trying to get to with these goals and who is not. It's really going to be quite refreshing in terms of people, especially in terms of people in your personal life and your emotional life. This is a time to add a little bit of fire to your relationships because it really looks like it takes, and it really can make you much more satisfied, make your life a lot more exciting. We all know Scorpios also are famous for needing a little bit of excitement in their personal life, in the bedroom, wherever it may be. This is the month you'll find that. Sagittarians, you're probably feeling torn in a classically Sagittarian way. Your restlessness is at a high. You're really willing to go anywhere or do anything at this point, but it's not really the time to do it. This is the time when you need to be paying attention to your base, to your foundations, and making sure that you're establishing a strong foundation for success in this year of 2023 that's right ahead of us. So you need to kind of find other outlets for those urges of yours to spread yourself far and wide, read new things, do new things. Read new things is the way to do it. This is the time to to satisfy that restlessness by information, by putting new info in, by finding new ways to kind of stimulate your mind and do all the millions of things that stop you feeling so bored so easily, because that's what you seem to be. This restlessness arises out of boredom at the moment. Your personal life might also provide a healthy distraction from that as well. So this is a great time to focus on important relationships. One-to-one relationships stand to bring in great gains at this time. A very important friendship is a very important source of strength and support and helping you fulfill those foundations. Ask yourself, who are the really important people in my life? Focus on those relationships, you won't feel so restless. Well, Capricorn, fun is not a word that we usually find very much in your vocabulary or in your daily activities. But the chart says this is a time to branch out a little bit and start looking at that. You're having a birthday, it's the perfect opportunity to really get into more fun and pleasure. Certainly, it's not as if Capricorns are not capable of that. And you just need to be willing to show that fun side more easily. Fun isn't just about doing any old thing, it's also about doing things that you love. And this month, of course, birthday month, is the perfect time to be doing that. Also, people that you love. Your chart is showing friends, loved ones of all kinds, and even romantic interests seem to be all around you. And that's a perfect way to have some fun and to put your energy into things other than your working self. As much as I can say that, your chart, your friend Saturn, who rules your sign, still is very strongly in working mode. So a good way to try and balance these two things out is also to look at goals that you can establish with people around you, with friends. They don't have to be business goals. Maybe they're new things you can achieve together as friends, as a friend group, as a way to develop your personal relationships in that goal-oriented Capricorn way. You can achieve those goals, satisfy the personal relationships, put your energy in the right place, and still be a Capricorn. While the world sleeps and has a good time, Aquarius is operating. It's typical of you to do things your way, not their way. So you've been working and doing all those things while they've been playing, and you've been playing while they've been working. So now's the time for you to kind of kick into action again, because everyone else is kind of sitting back or focusing on other things. This is a great time to do the hard work necessary to achieve an important goal or to set up something that you've got on your plate and for this year or for what's ahead this year. Remember, because your birthday is only a month away, it's probably going to take until after then to really kick something into action. So be prepared for a little bit of effort before you see any results, and that's kind of your theme for the month. It's about putting in a lot of effort and not yet worrying about the results. It's going to be difficult to find people to help you at this time, and if you think you need help, well, you're going to have to reassess, and at least for January, ask yourself, well, at this point, what can I do that's just up to me? Get those things done before I start finding ways to get other people on board with me, and like that, you'll get things done much more easily. It does look like they are cooperative. They're just not in any rush to help you. So you do your own things first, then others. Do the work stuff first, you can get back to playing at the time of your birthday. Pisces, you are just not yet ready for the new year, and it doesn't really matter. It's not as if too much is falling by the wayside. In fact, some of the things that have been dragging you back over the last few months are beginning to disappear, and you'll actually find yourself feeling lighter, readier. You'll find that things that are pulling in the opposite direction are no longer doing so, and you can get ahead with your goals. what I mean by it's not really time yet is because there still is quite a strong focus on your personal life in your chart. And there's some things that need to be sorted out in your relationship life that will benefit from that same energy of you can pull away from old bad vibes at this time. So it's a great time to be sorting out lingering issues, especially unspoken issues in your personal life. It's also a great time to introduce new ways, new goals, new things that you can share and do together in your personal life, but you really need to kind of clear up that personal side before you can really make any progress in your professional life. And it just isn't a great time to do that. Everything begins by getting your own space, your home, your family, and your relationship into a strong state at the beginning of the year. Your goals are going to be able to build on that and capitalize on that. You're still going to find it easier to achieve, but you do need to make sure that your personal focus is strong before you can expect any professional gain.